Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Urban Impact Show. I am your host, Dewana Bradley. We are live at the studio. It feels weird saying this. It's normally what Rob says, but I'm going to do my best to say it anyway. We are live at the studio, and I have my glasses on so I can see it all. If you would like to reserve your space, call Lauren Campbell at 515-996-0326. We're out here in Windsor Heights, and today we are so happy to have Miss Betty Andrews.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
I'm so
Welcome.
Thank
Thank you. So Betty, tell us just a little bit about what you do, and then we're going to get right into what I'm excited about, and I'll tell why I'm excited about it, because I just seen the post today. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I own a company called Betty Andrews Media. We do media events and strategic communications. I also am the president of the Iowa-Nebraska NAACP, and the opportunity that I want to talk to you about today is I'll Make Me a World in Iowa, where I serve as the executive director. So I'm excited to be here.
Okay, we're going to talk about it. I want to say it so bad, like who's going to be here, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I'm that excited about it. Like when I was
Some of y'all already know.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. I scrolled and I seen it. And I was like, look who's coming. So I'll get to it. I'm going to take my time and work backwards and talk a little bit about I'll Make Me a World in Iowa. Kind of how it came to be. It's really been your baby since as long as I can remember. So just talk a little bit about that history behind it.
So I didn't actually start the festival. However, I came shortly thereafter, and I kind of was in charge of the glow up for I'll Make Me a World. And it started several years ago with kind of a challenge from a company called Black Side Production. Many may remember the documentary Eyes on the Prize, where they did they documented the civil rights movement. Black Side Production, who did that documentary, wanted to do another documentary about African American art. And they challenged people across the country to come up with programming to coincide with the release of their documentary around it. And we came up with, the documentary was called I'll Make Me a World, and we came up with I'll Make Me a World in Iowa. And I'll Make Me a World is from the poem, The Creation by James Weldon Johnson. So that's how it started. First year, Iowa State Historical Building, we were expecting 300 people, ended up with over 1,000. Next year we doubled. Then we had to start moving to the event center, the Polk County Event Center. We moved to the Iowa Event Center. And this year we're in a new location out in Clive at the Horizons Event Center. So,
yes, very familiar with that place. Now, talk a little bit about the change in location, why that's taking place. And we still gonna get back to what's happening because I'm excited about that. But let's talk about the location of where it's going to be.
So this marks our, I think, fourth location for the festival. And quite frankly, we've been looking for a while. And so to have this opportunity, the Horizon Event Center is newly renovated. They're still working on some things, but we're excited to be in place. One of the things that's a big draw for us is that parking is free. And that's a big deal because when we were at the event center, it was like $10 a carload, and that that's a challenge. But we're certainly excited and looking forward. We're kind of stepping into unknown territory, but we're up for the challenge. And as long as our people come and support, we'll be fine.
So y'all can make sure y'all come out to Clive. We're going to talk a little bit more. Tell me about other things that take place. So before I get to my exciting piece, I'm going to keep saying that because I'm excited to say who's going to be there. But let's talk about some of the other events that take place leading up to I'll Make Me a World.
So it's a event festival, and it happens across 3 days, sometimes closer together. But we have the gala, and the gala is actually coming up on January 28th. So that's right around the corner. We have our celebrity entertainment is Rob Bass. You know Rob Bass?
I do know Rob Bass.
There you go. Enjoy and pay. Don't make me sing.
Don't make me sing, and y'all probably don't want to do all that on there.
But at that event, it's so important. It's a formal event. It's formal, but we have soul food as our food because we also want to acknowledge that soul food can be elegant as well. And so we started in Terrace Hill at the Governor's Mansion years ago. So we wanted to just kind of take that that formal feel. We also will be presenting our Heritage Legacy Awards, and so we're really excited. We have a great group that we're honoring. We're honoring Kevin Officer, who is our board president, our outgoing board president. We're also honoring Royce-Ann Porter from Iowa City. She's a county supervisor. We'll be honoring the Investing in My Future as our youth organization, and then the Executive Directors Award goes to Bo James. And so we're going to have a great crop of award winners this year. And then of course we'll be there with our sponsors, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
that'd be great.
So that's the gala.
Okay.
But then we also have so that's January 28th. Then on February 3rd, we have Education Day.
That's what I was waiting.
Education Day is a day that's near and dear to my heart because I wanted we wanted to make sure that yes, it's a festival. We gotta celebrate. We gotta. It's for the. Let's do it for the culture. But also, we wanted to leave footsteps.
Yes.
We wanted to leave the opportunity for young people to learn about the culture because this is a rich culture, lots of great heritage, lots of things to know about the achievements and how we've overcome. And so we have a Black History game show that we play every year. And actually we students study for 3 weeks to a month before the event, and they come ready to compete for the Black History game show. And then we also have workshops. So this year we have an entrepreneurial Shark Tank type of workshop that is called the Biz Pitch. So students actually can win prizes for pitching their entrepreneurial ideas. We also have a puppet show that's going to tell the story of Buxton, Iowa.
Oh, that's great.
Which is really powerful. That you won't want to miss that. And then a number of other things that take place that day. Lots of workshops. Oh, I did want to mention we have the STEM Fest. So we have a STEM Fest within that, a festival within a festival. And then we will actually be having Blue Origin, the aerial space company that flies things to outer space. They're going to fly postcard or rocket off postcards from our youth that are at the event to outer space, and then they're going to mail them to whoever they want to have a postcard from outer space. So I'm like ready to do that. So that's event number 2, February 3rd, and students can sign up for that through their schools. And if your school is not coming, make sure you let them know that this event is important. And so the final event, of course, is Celebration Day, Iowa's African American Festival, and it's not our only festival. We know Juneteenth is the place to be in the summer, but this is the event that kicks off Black History Month, and it is just really an exciting opportunity to bring people together, and it is open for everybody that is interested in knowing more, and just not even necessarily knowing more, just being affirmed in that day. Many people think about it as I've heard several people call it the Black Family Reunion, those kinds of things. So it is just an opportunity. We have our celebrity headliner this year, and do we need a drum roll? We got it.
The whole time you're talking, I'm like, just say what it is. Just tell everybody what it is. So we're gonna give a little drum roll. Okay, go ahead.
It's Tay Diggs. Tay Diggs. So it's amazing. The whole room just lit up.
That's how I felt when I saw Tay Diggs picture come up. I was like, I gotta figure out how my day's gonna go.
Yes.
People in the line to get to the front.
Absolutely. We're so glad that he's here, and we're known for our celebrity headliners, and we're excited that he's gonna join us for this 25th anniversary. But I did want to say how important it is that we, a lot of times we get the question, why do you bring headliners in? And the point of bringing headliners in is to make sure that people understand that just like stuff happens on the East Coast, in New Orleans, on the West Coast, all that stuff can happen here, and that we're just as good and we can do things just as well as they can do anywhere else. The day also includes a lot of Iowa performers. Of course, the Isis Arrests are going to join us. A number of other performers are going to be with us as well. Entree, we'll have gospel choirs, blues. Kevin Burt's going to be with us. I better stop naming them before I get in trouble. But lots of things. Of course, we'll have soul food, looking forward to have Ruby D's there. And then we'll have a selfie station and all that. So lots of fun. And a big part of I'll Make Me a World is our Health and Wellness Expo. So we will have people who are giving screenings, dental screenings, as well as blood pressure checks and things like that. And this is hugely important because, again, it's important that we gather and that we're together, but we also want to use our power for good. And we know that African Americans have a lot of serious risk factors when it comes to health. And so we are using our power to stop that. So absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, we are looking forward to I'll Make Me a World in Iowa. Tell everyone the website they can go to find more information so they can get all their dates so they can show up to these events.
Sure. On social media, we're at World in Iowa, and then our website is worldiniowa.org.
All right, Betty. Well, thank you so much for being on the Urban Impact Show. As y'all can't already tell, I am excited about seeing Taye Diggs. So you will see me front and center somewhere on that day. So I'm looking forward to it. But make sure y'all check out I'll Make Me a World. As Betty said, it is what kicks things off for us. So we all are supportive of each other's events. So we have I'll Make Me a World, then we'll prepare for Juneteenth. But we are super excited to kick off with you, Betty, for I'll Make Me a World. So thank you again for being on the show. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Brittany and her Black Business Spotlight here on the Urban Impact Show. Oh, Rob first, then Brittany. We'll be right back with the Urban Impact Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Johnson, and I am sitting here with the lovely, the honorable Miss Breon Merritt. How are you? Woohoo!
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Yeah, well, welcome to the Urban Impact Show. This is your first time on the show, right?
This is the first time. Thank you for having me.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for being willing to come on. I know we just had one strong Black woman. Now we got another one coming on for this second part. We got to book more men, just letting the people know in the back. So, first of all, I wanted to personally, and I'm so glad we have the opportunity to do this live, I want to personally say thank you for being one of the sponsors of the Rob Johnson Birthday Gas Giveaway. Definitely came through, and I truly, truly appreciate you all being a sponsor and coming through. So tell us about you. So you're a mom, a grandma, business owner, you're a churchgoer. Like, tell us about Breon. Give us a little bit of information about you, and shout out to your business, Sally B's Home Health. And you guys are kicking it right now. Business is booming, things are going well. So tell us about it.
First and foremost, I'm a woman of God before anything. Then I'm a mother, a grandmother. I've started my home health about 4 years ago. It's been amazing the whole time. It's been never a dull moment. Clientele after clientele. God has been so good.
So give me more about this. So my mom was on dialysis, and there was a point before she passed away where she was like bedridden at home. So is that kind of what? So okay. So describe for our viewers like what a day would look like working for your business?
So I have staff that would go out to different clients' home around the Des Moines area. We do all kinds of things as far as like meal prep, medication management, bathing.
Wait a minute. Bathing? As in like y'all watch the people?
If they can't take a shower on their own, we do that for them. Cook their meals. We walk dogs, their dogs. I mean, we do it. We do it all.
Cat sit?
Well, I mean, we will for sure. We're trying not to get away from the home health, but I mean, we just want to meet their needs, and a lot of them have animals, so that's how we kind of got into that. We take them to the grocery store and doctor's appointments.
Yeah. So you all are seeing people really like at their worst moments.
Yeah, a lot of them. Some are just retired, don't have family, or they do have family. Their family is working, and they just can't take care of them 24/7. So they hire us to come in, and sometimes we just do things for a couple hours, or we have contracts where we're taking care of people 24/7. So I have staff that I staff a couple of clients that we are there 24/7.
How does it feel being a business owner? Like people, our first guest was talking about being a business owner. DeWanna's a business owner. We have a ton of other business owners in the room. So how does that feel? Like you take everything upon you. Slow seasons, fast seasons, busy seasons, no seasons. Like, how does that feel being a business owner?
I feel truly blessed. Truly blessed. It has its moments. I just, whatever God has planned for you, if it's your season, He will make sure it flourishes. It does well.
I'm a shouter now. Don't make me take these glasses off, because I do a lot. I
mean, I'm serious. Like it runs so smooth. I mean, everything just lines up very well.
Man, and so you all go into the homes. You basically do everything that these people would need, and is everything just private? Like, so are you guys able to work with like major? Because I can tell you right now, in the state of Iowa, there is a crisis when it comes to dealing with our elderly population, especially in those what do you call them?
Nursing homes.
In the nursing homes, right? Yeah. And so there's so much going on. Then they talk about elder abuse and all of this other stuff that is happening. And I know you run in a tip-top organization. You play no games with the business, making sure that is right. Like, how do you block out all of that noise with all of the stuff that's coming your way?
I pray. I pray all the time. And He blesses me. I have a great assistant. She's back there. She's awesome. When I'm tired, I'm like, okay, because when you own a business, you don't get no. I mean, you work. It's 24/7. Yeah. Like even my vacations, I get calls.
Yeah.
So my assistant, she helps out tremendously. If I need a break, she'll come take my phone from me. She'll deal with the staff if they have anything. She'll just let Breon rest today. I made it very clear when I started that Saturdays, I go to church on Saturdays, so I don't want to be bothered that day. Any other days,
and here I was texting, trying to get you to drive down to the gas drive.
And what I say?
On a Saturday.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to worship.
Very, very politely.
No, yeah. I don't mind helping if it doesn't involve, my fellowship.
Absolutely, because you take that very serious.
Oh, very serious.
Yeah. In a world where faith seems to be tested every day, where there's a lot going on in our country, in our state, and even right here in our city, there's a lot happening as a mom and as a woman of faith. How do you feel about what's happening right now?
That's a good question. It's sad, but I just keep my eye on Jesus. Not that I don't care about what's going on, but because we know that this is going to happen, it's written. You just pray for your family, you pray for your friends, you pray for your enemies, and because all of us are sinners, all of us fall short, and we don't know on Judgment Day who's going to make it. So, I'm just trying to live out what I feel like God has called me to do and try to, direct my children, in that path. And anybody come encounter to, I always say, hide me behind you, Father. Let your light shine through. And I feel like for sure that being in this field, it was definitely my calling to help others. So, but yeah, it's sad, but
to do what you do is definitely a calling.
Yes.
Because let me tell you, I'm not washing nobody up. Is this the camera to look into? Because I just want to be clear. I'm not washing nobody up.
I mean, at least you're being honest.
Yeah, except for Eli. Let me correct that. Because Eli demands to be washed. Well, we have a couple minutes left. Switching to something a little bit lighter are these boots that you came in here with. Because before we go to break, I'm going to have him zoom in on those boots. Because
I like to dress. I love my fashion.
Like to, man. I felt like here I am with Eli stained sweats on, and
Listen,
a
I'm
look.
about to be 40.
Look,
And I'm embracing it.
Hey,
it's beautiful. So.
that's right. That's right.
And I'm a
Take
grandma.
it.
No, but are you like Grammy or Grandma or your grandma?
So, I'm not glamour or nothing. Literally he calls me Meemaw. So, I mean, yeah.
I just know like grandmas.
Yeah, I know they like that, but I am a grandma. That is cool. I don't mind saying it,
I got comment on that.
Hey. Well, look, I know we're running out of time. Here's what I want to do, and I know I'm springing this on you, so feel free to give me a dirty look after you do it. But there's a young lady or a young man watching right now, or they will watch this in the next day or two. And they're going to see that a black woman started a business in home health. Business is going great. Things are going great. But it doesn't come without challenges. If you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, and I know you're pretty good at this, if you would say something to them that could lift their spirits and tell them that it's okay. Yeah. Will you just look, this camera? This one?
Oh, this
okay.
one.
Look in there and just give them an encouraging word. And then after you're done with that, let our viewers know how they can get a hold of your business if they would like to bring you in.
Sure. I would encourage people to, most importantly, like I said, to me, it's my faith, prayer. I ask God to just direct me and order my steps, most importantly. And then, the resources is very important too. I was by myself, so I Googled everything, and that helps. But I think that most importantly is prayer and having a team of supporters. And not everybody has a team, and I get that. But if you have one or two people, just jot down your ideas, and you just take baby steps. Like I started when the Holy Spirit told me I was going to open a home health. It was a year and a half before I got my first client. And I understand now why, because God was preparing me and pruning me. He knew what I was going to have coming. It's a lot. So I would just say, have faith and keep pushing through, and you'll make it. You'll be all right.
How can I get a hold of your business?
You can get a hold of my business. My website is sallybllc@gmail.com, or you can reach us at 515-803-4041.
Boom, you've heard it here. Thank you for tuning into the Urban Impact Show. We'll be right back. Press that share button. We just got done interviewing the lovely Miss Breon Merritt from Sally B's Home Health. Tune in, press that share button. We'll be right back. You're watching the Urban Impact Show.
Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show, where we are here with our next guest, Miss Luana Nelson Brown. You're not even really a guest. I felt weird saying guest.
I know, right?
Because you're really
guest today.
She's been on the show with us at the Urban Impact Show, but today she is a guest because what really brought me to it. So I remember it was back in December. I was scrolling through Facebook and happened to see this story done by Dana on Black Iowa News, and it was talking about kind of what was going on with your nonprofit.
Right.
Very familiar with your nonprofit and what you do. And we're jumping into this very quickly because there's so much to unpack.
There is.
So before we get into it and I kind of tell the why I asked you to be here today, let's just share a little bit about who you are. So let's take a step back, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into this a little more.
I like that.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Most of the viewers know who I am, but I'm not sure they know what I do.
Exactly.
That is a really
do.
good point. So first of all, it's serendipity. There's a lot of synchronicities happening in the room.
Yes.
With your previous guests, I have connections in some way, which is awesome. But our nonprofit is the Iowa Coalition for Collective Change. And we, when we were first funded, were the homicide coalition for the state of Iowa. So what that means, what we did is we worked with programs that worked directly with victims and survivors of homicide. So we did training, we did education, and we looked for the macro level work. So policies, practices, procedures. What ended up happening, and that's what we thought we'd do the whole time, right, when we were first funded. We quickly learned that was not to be the case because the funding for advocacy services for survivors of homicide in the state of Iowa is virtually non-existent. So what ended up happening is our demand came from those programs that were working directly with survivors needing a whole lot of help, right? So we would step in and help work with families. We would step in and when those programs had questions on whether or not specifically, is this a racially motivated crime? You know, we would step in and work in that area. We were also able to uncover, which is why I've worked with Betty so closely, right? We were also able to uncover some serious deficits in our legislature, some serious deficits around policy, deficits around our hate crime law. All of that came out of the work of our coalition. And the reason we are so zeroed in on the Black community is because 1/3 of all homicide victims in Iowa are Black. Extreme disproportion, right? And so as we grew, we found ourselves really becoming a Black liberation type of organization around homicide and violent crime.
But no, your work is so important because I can think of a time in our lives when we would have needed your services. I've told this story before. My kids lost their father tragically. He was murdered. And so we didn't have, you know, someone that looked like us to walk us through that process. We didn't have anyone to support us. We got support, but it wasn't from someone I could look at and say that looked like me, could understand. You know, at that time, my daughter was 14 and my son was 9. So having someone really take the three of us through the supportive piece of it. So I think it's so important to have these agencies, you know, where there's people that when you walk through the door, you look like me. And so I want you to talk a little bit about kind of fast forwarding to what's been going on now. As I read that there seems to be some separation. And mind you, I want to say this is Luana's story. This is not the Urban Impact Show saying that we're siding with anyone or Iowa Urban Media, but I think it's very important, what doesn't happen in our community is for our stories to be told. Because so many times it's someone else telling our stories. So very rarely do we get to hear it from the individual that is impacted. So we're going to start today with this story. We are not going to get this story done today. We are going to do a special with Luana and we will air it later. But we're just going to scratch the surface to really begin what has happened, and we'll share more at a later date.
Yeah, unraveling the intricacies of this work is a lot. First of all, thank you for acknowledging that this is my story, because it took some time, right, for me to actually be able to tell my story. It's difficult. We all have a story, and it's difficult to tell them. But I know I need to. First of all, telling your story is liberating. It is freeing, you know, and the truth is in your story. So I share my story because there is so much that needs to happen in our state. And I believe that there are a lot of lessons to be learned from my story. So yes, you're correct. There was a separation. And that separation came through the funding, right? So we were funded by the state of Iowa. But even to explain that, the funding we received was federal, not state, because the state of Iowa does not provide any money for homicide advocacy services at all.
So say that one more time.
The state of Iowa does not provide any money, $0, for advocacy services around homicides, period. There is none.
All of that funding that comes, so from the services I received,
Right.
that was more than likely, that was federal.
That was
funded
federal money.
Okay.
That was federal money that was handled by a state agency.
Got it.
See, so all of the money in victim services advocacy that is provided by the state
Right.
is only for domestic violence and sexual assault. See, and so that was something that we uncovered early on and started lobbying to change, right? And I think that's where we started ruffling feathers. You know, anytime you're asking for additional funds, you're trying to change legislation, you're ruffling feathers, right? And so fast forward 4 years later, we run into COVID. Well, 3 years later, we run into COVID, and we had an administrative error. I'm here to say that we had an administrative error that was really due to COVID. Right. And so we were honest with the state agency that was funding us, and we worked something out. We had a fiscal sponsor step in that was responsible for all things fiscal, and we worked it out. We were doing fine until I think we started to question one of their hiring decisions around the hiring of a law enforcement officer who was asked to resign his position because of his violence toward a young black man. And I think that's where some of the division happened. Also, I would say that funding agency, their office was very young. They had a very young staff that did not know those funds and did not know victim services. I've been working with this exact fund since 2007. I also used to work in that office managing that fund. And so, you know, some people can't take a grantee telling you how to manage a fund, and that is, you know, there was
But you had
some
that
rift there.
experience.
I
So
had
you
the
really
experience
knew it on both sides. So you knew it as a
Exactly.
person receiving, but you knew a person as also managing those funds too as well.
Exactly. And more importantly, as a black woman in living in the black community, I also saw the barriers and the intricacies and what the funds weren't covering. And anytime you bring race into the equation, right, you get pushback. So I think according to their office, you know, what I was asking of them and the way I wanted to run my agency was too much for their staff, and they decided to defund us. So they took the funding away, and there's a lot more around it that we definitely don't have time to get into. But in a nutshell, that is what happened. So what the state of Iowa now lost was the agency that has spent the last 4 years uncovering the barriers around the increase in homicides in the black community, uncovering those policy decisions that need to be made, and we've lost the agency that stood in the gap for those programs that are working with victims that can't afford to. Real quick, I'll talk about Michael Williams as an example. You know, thank you. I'm nervous. Okay, Michael Williams, who was found murdered in Grinnell, Iowa. The agency that provides advocacy services called us for help because one, they ran out of money, and two, they only had one staff. So as we were helping this family, we stepped in.
Right.
It was overwhelming for us. Betty Andrews, who you saw earlier, their agency stepped in. We spent upwards of $1,000. The NAACP spent upwards, of several $1,000s. Des Moines BLM spent upwards of a couple $1,000s. The Domestic Violence Coalition, the Sexual Assault Coalition. So helping one victim of homicide's family can cost up to $10,000, $15,000 and 2 years of labor, right? The state of Iowa does not provide that money. And so what the state of Iowa lost by unfunding us was an agency that helped coordinate that, the community agencies that stepped in, that worked with the family, that knew what the intricacies of being a Black survivor of homicide looks like.
Right.
So,
See, I said we wasn't gonna get that far. Like, we just literally we didn't even scratch the surface of it. But I think it's so important because we need to know what's happening within our community.
Yeah.
Now, because of everything that's happened, we just seen today. I mean, I don't know who it was, but there was a homicide death this morning.
Yep.
So these things are continuing to happen. It's our fourth one of the year,
Yes.
and so your services sounds like it's. Now that we don't have them, what are we supposed to do? And we're going to talk a little bit more about all of this and everything that's going on. I want to encourage you all to educate yourself. So when we talk about these stories, this is not us just grabbing things out of the air. If you look at Dana James, Black Iowa News, the article was written in December. I think it was December 15th, 16th, if I remember. I'm going off memory.
Yeah.
I'm encouraging you all to read the story. It is a lengthy story, but it gives you every piece of information you need to truly understand Luana's story. So we're going to continue to break it down. So Luana, thank you.
Let me say one thing real quick.
Go ahead.
We are unfunded, but we are still at work.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, we're just all volunteer now. So if you feel like you need some assistance, you want to know about victim compensation, you have a question about any of the process, you can still call us. Takes me a little longer because, I'm not getting paid.
Right.
So,
Right.
But we are still here and we are still working. So.
And I just want to say this shows you a person who is dedicated to the work, because it takes a person dedicated to the work to say that even if I'm not getting paid, I'm going to continue to still do the work. Yeah. So I just want you all to remember that. She's doing this work, her team is doing this work.
That's right.
Without being paid. So I think that as a community, it's our responsibility to figure out how we can get them paid. I know it's not about money, but everyone deserves to be paid for the work that they do. So we're going to cut it right there, but you're going to be back. This is this is part one of another conversation we'll have, but thank you so much for being our guest on the show and starting to tell your story. We're going to get that story finished. We're going to take a short break, but thank you for turning into the Urban Impact Show.
Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. I'm one of your hosts, Brittany Dudley, and I have one of my dear friends here, Miss Tori B. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me. So today, just wanted our viewers to learn a little bit more about your beauty bar and just your journey through the beauty industry. So why don't you tell us like how your passion for hair and things started?
I have been doing hair since I was probably 13. Probably everyone in the city, everyone in our era, everyone who we grew up with, I probably touched their head at least once from the time I was 13 until now. I think I own Aviana's Beauty Bar located on 48th and University in Des Moines. I've owned it for 4 years. I've worked for myself.
Wow, 4 years?
Yeah, it's been 4 years.
And I remember when you had the grand opening, so that just time flew by.
Yeah.
Where were you doing hair before that?
I was at Unique Beauty. I was with Tootie. Oh, it was amazing.
And that's how you got your start in a shop?
Yeah, that's how I got my start in a salon.
Yeah.
I worked at Unique Beauty for about 4 years, and then I branched off and got my own salon.
How does it feel being a business owner? I mean, I know you have your ups and downs, and then, you know,
being a business owner in a small city where we aren't the majority is really, really, really hard. You know, everyone looks on the internet and they see black stylists and they think that everything's all glitz and glamour, and it's not. It's really, 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 really hard.
And your clients, like, they love Tori. Your client, I'll go in your shop, people bringing you food, everybody loves you. Where do you think that, you think just because you provide more than just a service?
Absolutely, I think it goes beyond the hair. Me and everyone who sits in my chair, we have, you know, me and my clients have really, really good relationships, from calling me in the middle of the night in a crisis to inviting me to some of them, I'm about to have a baby and I need you to talk me through this, you know? It goes well beyond it. You know, I feel like I've grown with so many women in this city.
And they've seen you at different stages of Tori.
And I've seen them at different stages of, you know, of their lives, you know. When you go to your hairstylist, you go to them for so many things.
Yeah.
You go to them for your wedding. You go to them for your kids' graduations. You
For
go to
important
them.
parts in your life.
Absolutely. So we're really, 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 like, when it's hectic, you're sitting in my chair. That's the only time you get to sit down and give a release. So I think it goes well beyond hair.
I always tell people too, like, a lot of my close friends are hairdressers, and I have to go there to hang out with y'all. So I have to go schedule time to get my hair done just to hang out because we're all so busy. But it's still an amazing time because I get to take different hats off that I have and get to truly be myself.
And we wear so many different hats. So many different hats. So love extra hard on your hairstylist.
They're like your therapist.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing I think that a lot of people don't know about you, what are some hobbies of yours that you...
Oh, I'm an artist. I'm a little shy too, so.
No, that shocked me when I seen you. I'm like, dang, you do hair, you can sell art too.
Yeah, I'm a really, really talented artist.
Yeah. And so some of you haven't seen, even on her personal page, she shows or have videos of her doing art. So that, I mean, and I think it's pieces that you could sell in a store or sell online. You know, do you ever want to just pour into like that part of yourself?
Yeah, but I'm just so like, I'm sensitive about it, you know? And I'm so good in this lane where I'm at. It's kind of scary to branch off and to do that, like really, really dive deep into your art.
But I think doing hair is art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've been part of hair shows and things like that. So I think it's just another way for you kind of to express how you're feeling.
I mean, but that's my thing. I'm good at it. God said, with these hands, you will do hair, you know? Everything else is just a la carte, you know? And I know this is my God-given talent. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm not so when I touch different areas, it's kind of like,
you don't feel as comfortable?
I don't know if God said that this is what you're supposed to be doing with your free time, you know?
Yeah. So what's next for your beauty bar, your brand? Is there anything that you guys are...
There's so many things that are next. I want to open up a nonprofit. I want to branch off from my beauty bar for young women and young men who are parents. I want to put them into a transitional housing home, so I can teach them how to be self-sufficient, how to save their money. There's so many things. Also, I want an art studio, but like I said, I don't know if God told me that I was going to do that nonprofit.
Yeah.
But he hasn't talked to me about my art, so there's just a lot of things.
And so is it going to be named after your beauty bar? Or are you going to kind of continue the brand?
I'm going to continue the brand, but I'm going to continue it, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit. But I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's what I'm going to do.
So if you had a message for other young women wanting to get into the industry, starting from high school or college, what would it be?
Do it. Just jump out in and put yourself out there, because it's $1 billion industry, and all of us want to be beautiful. Look at all of us. Everybody has their hair done, and there's so there's so many other different women who have touched their hair. It's money to be made. You make really, really great connections. You make really good friends. A lot of my friendships, a lot of my best friends have started from coming to sit into my chair. So.
Wow. And another thing, that your beauty bar offers as well is you do makeup, right? Too.
Yeah.
You don't love to do makeup, but you do makeup really well.
I do makeup. I'm really, really good at it. So it's kind of like, I'll do it. I like it. I love it.
Because I remember I asked you before, I'm like, get my hair done. Can you do my makeup too?
Tootie is the GOAT. And if you want your makeup done, go to Unique Beauty.
Yeah.
But let me do your hair.
Anything you want to add before we close?
You can find me at Aviana's Beauty Bar on Instagram and on Facebook. So AVIAUNNAS Beauty Bar.
What's your shop's location?
48 in University, right across the street from the hardware store.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, and we'll be back. We're going on to our last break of the day, and we'll be back.
welcome back to the Urban Impact Show, where we are ready to close out. Close out.
Don't breathe too hard.
I know. Let me stand back here. Look, let me. Okay. Well, that was supposed to be a happy birthday to Rob, but you know when it's live TV, it is what it is.
Right.
So, no, we wanted to just say happy birthday to Rob. For those of you that may not have known, we had an awesome time yesterday giving away $20,000 in gas. $20,000 in gas. And I'm going to let Rob talk a little bit about it, but I just want to say, as his partner in that event, we, Rob always calls me with things like, we're going to do this, and I'm like, yeah, I'll think about it. No, I wasn't asking you. I was just saying, we're doing this. So we're doing this.
Never ask
No, he doesn't ask. He just says, we're doing this. But like, really, are we going to say no to an event like this? I mean, to see this smile on people's faces, people were in tears. The one man's car who had to be pushed because he ran out of gas.
There was 3 cars.
Three of those people that ran out of gas while waiting for gas. The people don't know the impact it makes just by putting gas in someone's car and filling their tank. So, Rob, we celebrate you every January 21st. We're gonna have a gas event.
No matter what day it falls.
No matter what day it falls on. It'll be Sunday next year. We will be there to fill up people's tanks. So, Rob, happy birthday to you. We were gonna sing to you, but I don't think that should be good for today. But we'll let you just say a few words. You're gonna close us out.
I just want to say, real talk. It's honestly a little emotional for me because. I'm a kid from the projects. My mom raised 3 kids in Dearborn Homes in Chicago, Illinois on 29th and State Street. And I remember the pork and beans and hot dog days. And so for me, I wanted to say thank you to just all of these people. And I purposely do this because I think it's important for us to recognize people who gave, because these are the people who came up with the $20,000, right? And so I just want to say thank you to Breon Merritt, Gerald Hill, Mayor Bruce Teague, Joe Crummings, Steve,
Shay
Paul, Karen Derry, Sean Bagnuski, Kay and Bob Riley, Urban Dreams, the Iowa Federation of Labor, CIO, Creative Visions. I'll come back to them. But Lifestyle Juices, Back to School Iowa, Homes of Oak Ridge, Lutheran Church of Hope, Joppa Experience, She Solutions LLC, Humana, Ford Consulting LLC, Rachel Lunsford, Kristen Clark, Jackie Norris, Selu Tumbo, Remax, Lincoln Savings Bank, Iowa Baptist State Convention, along with Corinthian Baptist, Betty Andrews Media, Urban Impact Show, Vanessa Lewis, Pyramid Theater, Deborah Simmons, Sharice Burrell, Deborah Carr, Ashley Johnson, Pastor Ike Brown, Representative Mary Madison, Dr. Mary Chapman, Linda Carter Lewis, Bishop Epwright, Valerie James, Jenny Gold, Emily Purcell, Tranisha Webster, Tina Finn, Renee Hartman, and Lauren Campbell. And Marissa. Marissa, remember? Oh, yes, and Marissa Townsend. And I believe Chris Espin also gave as well. Yes. Chris Espin also gave. But then I want to thank personally, which camera tray should I look in real quick? This one? Okay. I do want to send a heartfelt thank you out. Shout out to Come and Go.
Yes.
Real talk.
They were amazing.
When we were trying to decide on where we were going to have this, it was more of a moral thing for us than a business thing. Right. It was a moral decision that we were making because this is about our people, from our people, in our neighborhood. And they took the charge.
They did.
And they stepped up not only financially, but they made sure every single piece of that place was right for the way we wanted it. Even all the way down to the pizza and the hot chocolate.
They were passing out coats for people
they went and bought coats. They provided bags, volunteers. They made they had a truck, a gasoline tanker truck parked down the street in case we ran out of gas. In case we ran out of gas at the gas station, right? And so I do want to shout them out because not only did they step up financially because they contributed a huge lump sum to that $20,000, but also they made it happen.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I want to shout out somebody who I would consider a dad-like figure in my life, State Representative Akeo. That last minute $5,000, the way that just happened, it couldn't have been nobody but God. And so I'll end by saying thank you to this team, because if it, man, y'all, if it wasn't for this team, like when I tell y'all we was on the phone at midnight, mapping out how we get this stuff done, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, shout out to our community for always supporting. It's not even about us. And when they ask you how we got it done, just tell them God did it.
That's right.
Thank y'all for watching the Urban Impact Show.
Have a good week.
Have a good week.